Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun-Sized Alternative Edition.
Is this one of them collector covers where I got to buy 14 issues of the same comic book to get them all?
Basically.
Now Glenn has to change the graphic.
He's just going to draw mustaches on all of us.
All right.
For Joe's.
So in this edition, we're going to talk about the horror films that didn't get a sequel. Believe it or not, there are some that actually didn't get a sequel that deserved it, and there is a shit ton more that did get a sequel that didn't deserve those.
I'll go, and I'm going to go with the most obvious one that promises a sequel, and we've yet to see it. I'm going to say Bubba Hotep.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
Bubba Hotep. So
Yeah,
Bubba Hotep, if you've never seen Bubba Hotep, you missed out on one of the most interesting movies with some star class to it. Not Bruce Campbell. No, Bruce Campbell is phenomenal as always. He's always a lot of fun, but it has Ozzie Davis.
Yep.
Matter of fact, if you look over my shoulder, it's like there's a poster there or something. Yep. Bubba Hotep tells the story about Elvis in a retirement community because he faked his death, and his friend JFK plays about Ozzie Davis who have to fight a mummy. And if that sounds like a weird setup, enjoy the ride.
To this day, no matter what I've seen, that was the best midnight screening of a movie I've ever been to in my entire life.
Same here.
That being said, the movie ended with the credits had the line, Don Coscarelli, who directed the film, built in the line at the end, Bubba Nosferatu curses the she-vampires is when Elvis will return.
Yep.
That never has happened, though evidently at one point it was in progress, I guess. The story, by the way.
With Paul Giamatti as the Colonel.
As the Colonel.
And at one time, they were going to have Ron Perlman replace Bruce Campbell.
So this has been something that was going to happen. It has yet to happen. But if you've got $1 billion and you want to finance it, give $500 million to me for the idea, and then use the other $500 million to make Bubba Nosferatu Curse of the She-Vampires, as we were promised. Bubba Hotep deserved a sequel. It's a lot of fun. It's just entertaining.
I've heard stories about him and Don and not necessarily getting along, but that beats mine. My pick is going to sound like a kiss-ass one, but I truly do believe I have no earthly idea why we didn't get a sequel to My Bloody Valentine 3D. My Bloody Valentine 3D was directed by Patrick Lussier and written by Todd Farmer, both been on the show. It actually really isn't a kiss-ass thing as much as it is stuck in my head of it was a huge movie, opened at #1. We talked to both of them about why it didn't get a sequel. Much better film. I don't give a shit what anybody says than the original. It's far superior to the original, and there's no reason not to do a sequel to that. It's not like it is a movie where it would ruin it, or wouldn't ruin it, but like Cabin in the Woods, because it came to my mind. I was like, oh man, I'd love to know what the next 5 minutes of Cabin in the Woods. And then part of me is like, no, I wouldn't want to know what the next 5 minutes of Cabin in the Woods is. So I'd really like to see a sequel to My Bloody Valentine 3. It's just a lot of fun.
Cool. I'm shocked he didn't say Deep Rising. Anybody else shocked he didn't say Deep Rising?
Right here.
I would have liked to have seen a sequel to Deep Rising. If I thought of it, I might have used it. But
it made a couple lists.
Nobody's going to make it. And I'd love to see a sequel to The Last Exorcism. Completely different than the one they did. So,
that's another list.
That's a whole other list.
I'm going to cheat again and do a twofer. I do want to see a sequel, and it never happened. And the ending was building up to a sequel. And I've mentioned this in a previous episode of Fun Size, Demon Knight, that needed a sequel.
Yeah, they could have done 2 or 3 of those. Even if they were straight to tape, I think they could have been fun.
Yeah, that could have been a straight sequel. That could have told numerous stories, been a different person every time.
Yep.
And then number 2, again, the ending had the promise of a sequel, but we would never see it and probably never will. Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. I would love to have seen
That's a good one.
I would have loved to have seen a sequel to either her getting out of hell, her being in hell, or somebody else getting cursed.
Dragged to hell. I mean, it's right there in the promise. It's like I will give a little shout out to that Jennifer Aniston movie, The Breakup. They broke up. I love the fact that they broke up. I love the fact that Raimi dragged her to hell. With the eyeball popping out.
Yeah, it was a perfect ending, and it raised so many questions of what could have been a sequel, and it never happened. And I'm sure that is Sam Raimi's pure choice, and kudos to him.
Yep. Good choices, gentlemen. I feel like I got beat on that one. Thank you so much. This has been Bonehead Weekly. Next week's episode,
who knows?
We're canceled.